Despite MrBeast breaking his silence on his recent controversies, his brand is under more scrutiny than ever, with investigations into his crypto dealings leaving viewers with more questions than answers. Combined with concerns over his inconsistent transparency during his interview, it seems MrBeast still has a lot to answer before he can truly set the record straight.
A lot that I'm really not happy with. I think the answers were not satisfying. They were not good. There's a few times where we get close to an admission, and then we just kind of back off from it from MrBeast's perspective.
Hi, I'm the InternetAnarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we'll be investigating the fallout of MrBeast's interview. We'll also look at how the internet reacted to MrBeast's lack of transparency when addressing the allegations, the implications of Coffeezilla's crypto investigation, and the questionable credibility of both those defending MrBeast and those targeting MrBeast. For the last few months, I've uploaded several videos reporting the claims, allegations, and criticisms directed at MrBeast, from the initial shock of the Chris Tyson situation to the release of DogPack's expose series. The MrBeast brand has almost entirely lost its golden child status on YouTube. MrBeast would give a response to the situation during a 2-hour interview with Oomperville, where he gave some clarity to a number of the most troubling allegations. Following this, I published a video examining said interview and hinted at a follow-up video examining the ramifications of MrBeast's response. And while the interview saw MrBeast take some accountability and make headway in repairing the reputation of his brand, there are still valid criticisms that were either glossed over or ignored. It's critical to highlight these overlooked details since their existence radically shifts the validity, severity, and credibility of the initial allegations made against MrBeast. Combine this with the release of new information and research which provides additional context to the situation, and one could argue these new details are just as important to report as the initial allegations, as well as being fundamental in understanding what the MrBeast brand is truly accountable for and why. And what better place to start finding that out than with their most vocal former employee, DogPack 404. Since he doesn't have any known social media accounts, there isn't much information on DogPack's personal life or history. However, by his own admission, DogPack has had a decade-long background in content creation and is used to being behind the scenes rather than in front of a camera. The first known instance of DogPack going in front of a camera was during his 3-part series about MrBeast. The first video in the series, titled "I Worked for MrBeast, He's a Fraud," focused on DogPack's connections to the MrBeast company as a former employee and presented allegations of misleading business practices as well as toxic work culture.
Hi, I wanted to provide some context to this video. I'm a former MrBeast employee, and today I am alleging that the company rigged videos and did illegal lotteries and sold fake signatures. I would consider that fraud, okay? Thank you, enjoy the video.
While most of his claims relied on publicly available videos as evidence, there were times when DogPack presented himself as an insider with incriminating information about the MrBeast organization, even going as far as basing certain accusations on said information.
Okay, now as far as fake giveaways go, I'm sort of limited in what I can say without exposing confidential information and getting sued. So my official statement is that sometimes things slip through the cracks, and personally, I believe that is intentional.
This idea of DogPack having exclusive information would become more apparent in part 2 and the now deleted part 3 of the MrBeast expose series. From interviewing former employees about their negative experiences to alleging horrific assault cases involving upper management, DogPack painted the picture of an organization whose first reaction to misconduct or malpractice is to cover it up. James
Warren, also allegedly an ex-drug addict. I've heard that he offered hookers to editors to stay late. And then the really big thing is that there was some incident between him and a female colleague that resulted in the female colleague leaving the company and receiving 3 years in severance pay. I'm still actively looking into this incident, so if you have information, let me know. But I've heard from multiple credible sources that this is true and this did happen.
As intense as the allegations were, MrBeast wasn't the only one being put under the microscope. In the weeks and months after the expose series was published, people began questioning the validity of DogPack's claims. Not only was it later revealed that DogPack had only worked at the MrBeast company for less than a month, but many of his early accusations and insider information weren't as sold as he made them out to be. Some good examples of this are how DogPack claims that CSAM was being shared in work group chats, but was later revealed to be a GQ magazine cover, and his claims of MrBeast's secret CEO being violent were based on wrong court documents.
I went into it thinking he had done that, okay? I went into it thinking he did it, and I'm just gonna have to find the paperwork for it. I searched and searched and searched, and there was one case number I looked into. Again, I could probably make a whole video on on this. But suffice it to say that I do not think that the case number that is associated with this picture right here, and I told Dawson this, and that's why he said this in the video, I do not think that this particular case is the same James Warren. For many reasons, like I said, I did a few hours of research just into this case alone.
As soon as these dominoes fell, it was only a matter of time before people began noticing other issues in DogPack's narrative. By the 16th of November 2024, the YouTuber Soggy Cereal would upload a nearly 2-hour-long video highlighting the dubious nature of DogPack's narrative and the evidence he used to support it.
After he called me overdramatic for not wanting to spread serious accusations with unsubstantiated and easily refutable evidence, as well as because he tried to silence me with threats of slander after I started suspecting him of lying. So in this video, I will be debunking close to every accusation he and the people he manipulated have made.
While Soggy's video tackled almost all of DogPack's accusations, I want to focus on 3 key points that show just how much misinformation was in the original expose series. 1. MrBeast hiring Delaware. 2. Illegal lottery allegations. And 3. Manipulating challenges. To fully understand the Delaware situation, Soggy would reach out to another former MrBeast employee who explained that Delaware's nickname precedes his employment at the MrBeast company and isn't a result of being a registered offender.
According to a non-anonymous MrBeast employee, Dustin Harris, who has been working at MrBeast for about 6 years, he explained that Delaware was once a store manager at Jimmy's local Best Buy, which, for the people who don't know, Best Buy is a $20 billion valued electronics retailer company with stores all over the US. I mean that when Jimmy was 19 and first started blowing up on YouTube, Jimmy realized he needed employees to improve his content. So, as a dumbass, impulsive 19-year-old randomly thrown into fame, he went to his local Best Buy and asked its employees if they wanted to work for him, naively thinking that a multi-billion-dollar company would have at least made sure to not hire criminals and especially to not hire a registered offender.
Hiring Delaware was a mistake on Jimmy's end, but it wasn't as malicious as DogPack made it out to be.
Was that stupid? Yes. Is Delaware a piece of shit? Yes. Should Jimmy take responsibility for making that mistake? Yes. But it wasn't this fucked up master plan by Jimmy to intentionally hire an RSO. It was a dumb mistake by an inexperienced adolescent starting up a business. But a shred of research, you'd find this still publicly available almost 7-year-old video on the MrBeast channel where you can see Delaware as the Best Buy store manager before he was hired at MrBeast.
As for the illegal lottery claims, Soggy would point out how DogPack manipulated and obscured key evidence to suit his narrative.
Illegal lottery by sure to be in a video live stream. DogPack claims they only informed people on the website that no purchase was necessary. But did you read the description? You know, the description which I got via the Wayback Machine, where it literally says free entry available on site? Oh, but wait, you never actually found the description of that video, did you? You just made it look that way by doctoring up this fake YouTube UI.
With regards to MrBeast allegedly manipulating challenges, Soggy would highlight some videos from said former contestants that would go directly against DogPack's claims.
Collateral damage doesn't end with allegedly abused children. He also uses old people. For example, he tried using contestant 58 from the ages 1 to 100 video by claiming that he didn't really wink.
In this video, this wink was added in post.
And that number 58 didn't hear number 42 getting out of the booth.
In fact, 58 was actually on the far opposite side of the room from 42, and he just didn't hear him.
And because of that, number 58, a 58-year-old man, was so confused and getting harassed online to the point he felt that he had to make a TikTok about it.
Something's really been concerning me a little bit. I've been seeing things on the internet that have said I didn't wink in the MrBeast video 1 to 100. I did wink. I winked a few times, as a matter of fact. The other thing that's been said is I didn't hear 42 say he was stepping out of his cube. Yes, I heard 42 say he was stepping out of his cube. I did it on my own accord to step out with 2 seconds left on the clock.
As well as showing how DogPack lied about certain contestants not getting fair compensation.
He won $1 million and I made a video after winning that prize, which DogPack just took a very out of context clip from.
Another example of things slipping through the cracks.
I talked to Jimmy After I won $1 million, after I finally like got the remaining amount in my bank account, I was telling him, I was like, man, I don't want to fail. I don't want to be like how everybody's saying, like I'm gonna run out of money and do all this crazy stuff. I was like, man, Jimmy, please help me. And he said he was gonna help me and we was gonna invest, but yeah, that didn't happen. So
oh no, he didn't invest for Mark. Oh wait, what's this clip right after, which DogPack conveniently didn't put in his video?
Invest, but yeah, that didn't happen. So yeah, and let me clarify, Jimmy did help me.
Soggy would even go as far as flying out to MrBeast's office in North Carolina to interview current MrBeast employees about the allegations and the man spreading them.
Screenshot of messages he had between you and him. Can you just verify that these are real? These are...
Yes,
yeah, okay,
those
so
messages are between me and Dawson.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about your relationship with Dawson during both of you guys working there?
Me and Dawson were cordial, like I tried to keep it professional. I think he tried his best to keep it professional, but I will say it was a little uncomfortable with just me and him in the office. He seemed pretty disinterested in making genuine connections with people at the company. He gave weird vibes for sure. It seemed like he had no respect for Hoodie. He didn't take any of Hoodie's advice. It seemed like he didn't think he knew what Hoodie was doing.
While the video proved to be instrumental in adding a broader perspective to the controversy and dispelling many of DogPack's lies or false information, Soggy's credibility was also put on the line as creators inquired about the logistics of his interview with the MrBeast team, where it was revealed that a member of the MrBeast team actually paid for his flights, which resulted in an unnecessary conflict of interest, as realistically, this all could have been done by a Zoom call.
You obviously flew to America, right?
Yeah.
Did you cover those costs yourself, or did MrBeast in any way pay?
I'm gonna be honest on that. So I offered to do interviews to Dustin. He said that he wanted to do an interview and maybe try to ask some other employees if they wanted to do interviews. Dustin, as far as I know, paid for those, and not on a MrBeast card, because when I got at like the hotel, which they said that it was on the card of like literally his name, like his personal card, not non-company cards.
With all that being said, and to the large amount of provably false claims, why did everyone believe DogPack in the first place? For one, DogPack's video was published at the time when MrBeast's reputation was already under fire for his connection to Ava Chris Tyson. While the scrutiny around that situation was justified, it created a shift in MrBeast's public perception that DogPack could use to his advantage. He even alluded to it during the intro of his first expose video.
I recorded this before the Chris stuff came out. I was also going to come out about the Chris stuff probably in part 2 or 3, because I see a lot of people saying like, oh, if you knew, why didn't you come forward, why didn't you go to the authorities? Well, I was going to come forward, and also like going to the authorities isn't going to work, because what are you going to say, like you heard rumors that this person was this way, or that, you know, there's obviously evidence of like the Shad-based stuff, like that's been out for a while. People have internally known at the company that like Chris is kind of a potential minors attracted person, and the company protects her, or they were protecting her, and they protected her as long as they could. Jimmy knew, everyone knew, so.
In addition, DogPack was the first former MrBeast employee to present so many serious allegations all at once, which naturally drew people's attention. The possibility that DogPack had genuine insider secrets made it almost impossible to outright dismiss his claims without more context and evidence. Things become even more complicated when you factor in the highly curated and seemingly well-researched narrative DogPack's videos presented, from claims of toxic work culture to accusations of manipulating challenges. DogPack had skillfully constructed the internet's worst fears about the MrBeast brand. Then there was the assumption that no one would put in so much effort to make a video that could put them in legal trouble if they didn't have proof. Lastly, DogPack wasn't making these claims alone, as he would later include other testimony and statements from other current and former MrBeast employees. While a majority of these employees were anonymous, in-person interviews like the one with Jake Weddle bolstered the credibility of DogPack's allegations. This gave the audience the impression that DogPack's expose series wasn't born out of personal grievance, but rather a much deeper and wider-reaching problem with the MrBeast organization. All of these factors ultimately created the perfect platform for DogPack to spread an extremely believable narrative across the internet. Have you ever tried canceling a subscription only to waste hours navigating confusing menus or dealing with customer service? That happened to me recently, and I knew there had to be a better way. That's where today's sponsor Rocket Money comes in. Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower bills, and manage your money better, all in one place. After connecting my accounts, Rocket Money immediately identified all my subscriptions, even ones I forgot I had. With just a couple taps, I was able to cancel the ones I no longer needed. It saved me so much time and hassle. Rocket Money can also help negotiate your internet bill. Their team does all the work to try and get you the best rate so that you don't have to deal with the awkward customer service calls. On top of that, the app makes budgeting easy. You can create custom budgets, track your spending, and even set savings goals to reach your financial dreams faster. Take control of your finances today. Go to rocketmoney.com/InternetAnarchist or click the link in the description to try it for free. With that being said, let's get back into the video. However, that isn't to say all of DogPack's claims were without merit. His points about the MrBeast crew forging Jimmy's signature during the giveaway live streams, the company's shady marketing tactics aimed at kids involving gambling, and the HR incident involving LaCoya Hill are all still loose ends that need to be addressed. Unfortunately, these wouldn't be the only lingering questions around the MrBeast controversy, as yet another set of damning allegations were taking root. On the 14th of November 2024, Coffeezilla uploaded a video titled Investigating MrBeast, which uncovered some concerning details about Jimmy's alleged crypto schemes.
I investigated MrBeast, who was recently accused of making $23 million with insider trading and scams. I wanted to know the full story, so I reached out to everyone, from researchers to crypto projects, even to MrBeast himself. And let me say, the story is more complicated than you think. I want to be clear, what MrBeast did, what his team did, is shady. But what we care about is, did he cross that bright red line from shady to illegal scam? And contrary to what Twitter says, I don't think that's an easy answer.
Coffeezilla would go on to showcase instances of MrBeast profiting off pre-sale crypto projects like Super Token, Eternity Chain, and XCAD Network in almost an insider trading fashion. Looking at his involvement with Super, Coffeezilla stated MrBeast had invested $100,000 in the token's pre-sale and later made $11 million in profit following tweets he made responding to the token's founder, Elio Trades.
Starting with Super. This is the project MrBeast is alleged to have made the most amount of money on, over $10 million based on a pre-sale of $100,000. As for evidence, we have leaked screenshots showing MrBeast telling Super's founder that he can do $100K. Then we have a wallet that both investigations trace to MrBeast, sending $100K to the pre-sale wallet. And then we have the same wallets getting millions of these Super tokens in a period of unlocks, which were almost all sold aggressively. Now, why is this bad? Well, MrBeast is obviously hugely influential, and he publicly associated himself with the project twice. Once on March 3rd, 2021, he responded to a tweet with eyeball emojis, and then he interacted a second time on May 12th, 2021. This is much worse. The founder, Elio Trades, had tweeted, "There's a gym sitting there on the market at eye-watering prices, set to explode during the DeFi Summer 2.0. MrBeast's response, Super? But what he doesn't say is that he'd already purchased a huge stake in Super at this point, and on the day that he's tweeting, he was selling tokens, allegedly. Not only that, he had been selling tokens and continued to sell tokens. In the 72 hours after the May 12th tweet, MrBeast sold about $200,000 worth of these tokens.
When questioned about his involvement with the token and his connection to the crypto wallets listed, MrBeast refused to give Coffeezilla a straight answer.
Now, I ran these wallets by MrBeast, as well as the accusation, but I didn't get a reply. Instead, I got a heavily lawyered statement from a spokesman, who I'm going to warn you is about to complicate things. Quote, "These investments were made and managed in consultation with industry experts to ensure full compliance with all appropriate rules and regulations. The wallet is not owned or managed by Jimmy, but rather a fund led by respected and sophisticated managers. The fund closely evaluated and scrutinized hundreds and hundreds of opportunities, which resulted in several investments. Some have been more successful, others less, and others still works in progress. The fund's investment strategies apply the same rigorous standards as many other experienced investors in the field." Now, I have a lot of questions, but the big thing is Jimmy denies doing any of the trading or managing the trading and blames it on a fund. So I asked some obvious follow-up questions. What is the name of this fund? Who are the industry experts? And what rules and regulations were followed that allowed you to tweet about a coin while your fund is selling. I didn't get a response.
This response might lead us to believe that MrBeast wasn't directly involved with the day-to-day activities of the fund, but that seems less likely when you look into how he talks about his crypto dealings.
Just when I thought MrBeast might have no say in what this wallet did, I saw this podcast with Logan Paul, where Jimmy discusses CryptoPunks once again, and things get complicated.
So me and Logan both bought punks. You guys will probably see on his Twitter that he bought a bunch of crypto punks at the same time, right?
Yep.
When Gary pulled us in that call.
Yep.
So have you ever told that story?
No.
Gary V, it's like 11 p.m. just out of nowhere, just calls me and he's like, yo, I got like 30 people to call, hop in. I'm like, I don't care. He's like, it'll be the best decision of your life. Just get in. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And so I just joined the call. And I just see like Logan and I don't even know these other people. I don't want to put them on blast.
Every heavy hitter you can imagine who's worth $1 billion was on this one call, and Gary V is in the little corner, the little square. He's going, CryptoPunks. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be the next Facebook. All of us were like, okay,
Everyone's
Gary.
judging. I'm texting Logan.
He's
I'm like, Gary
is
lost
this
his
legit?
mind.
Bro, all of us were like, yo, Gary's nuts. Yo, Gary was right again.
And I bought a bunch.
Wait.
Yeah, I bought quite a few.
How many?
I don't want to say it, but
You have to say-
please.
bro, you have to.
I bought multiple ones. Yeah.
Well, bro, are you in double digits, punks?
Just shy.
Moving over to Eternity, Coffeezilla claims MrBeast's fund allegedly sold $2 million worth of earned tokens during an NFT charity auction organized by the network and Team C's.
2-month charity auction on November 30th, 2021, the Rocket Fund or Beast Fund or whatever you want to call it starts selling huge amounts of this earned token. Allegedly, they sold over $2 million, while the charity itself was still going on. Now, I know that sounds horrible. It looks horrible. It is horrible. Although I have to tell you, personally, I don't think this was a master plan to pump a coin with a charity auction. If it was the plan, it was a bad one because the NFT auction was ultimately a flop. But do I also think it doesn't matter because regardless of your intentions, selling tokens within a month of your 2-month charity auction is wrong, stupid, and unethical? Yes, I think that as well. Because in case you forgot, MrBeast is the charity guy whose name is on the website. It isn't a fund. It isn't a crypto rocket fund. It's MrBeast's branding.
While you could argue MrBeast profiting off Super and Eternity while they were being promoted by his brand was a mere coincidence, the same couldn't be said for XCAD. According to Coffeezilla, this was a token that MrBeast's fund invested in and flipped early, a decision that went against the terms set by the project's founder, Oliver Bell.
Like with Super and Earn, MrBeast's fund sold a lot of their XCAD early in 2021, rather than holding their tokens. And this was surprising to even the founder of XCAD himself, Oliver Bell, who said they told him they were going to do the opposite. He tells me, quote, hey, so MrBeast reached out to me during our pre-sale raise. A group was set up with his team, and we had a call with his team, and they said they liked the concept. There was no strings attached to the investment. They did, however, want a lot bigger ticket than what I offered them, which I'm glad I did not fulfill. We discussed not just flipping this token, as this can damage projects if people have decent sized tickets. It was my understanding we were aligned on this. However, after listing to which XCAD performed well, there was heavy dumping from a wallet linked to MrBeast's team. I got in contact with them immediately and asked them why they were selling like this. Now, Oliver later claims this discussion about flipping tokens and them being aligned about the fact they're not going to flip these tokens so quickly was with Jason. And apparently, Oliver was so upset about what happened, he DM'd Jimmy directly, quote, explaining his team will ruin his reputation.
While this investigation didn't outright state MrBeast had done anything illegal, it did raise several tough ethical questions about influencer responsibility. After all, the MrBeast brand was openly involved with or acknowledged all of these projects and then secretly made trades on them in the background. Not to mention MrBeast's ambiguous response to questions about who has control over the fund. Even though Coffeezilla couldn't get a response to these questions during his interview, he managed to get some answers out of MrBeast during his interview with Oomperville.
I secretly interviewed MrBeast after he refused to answer my questions in my investigation a few days ago. Now we have Oomperville, who MrBeast decided to do the tell-all interview with, and I was able to ask a handful of follow-up questions. I think it was 2 or 3 questions at the end of the video through Oomperville. I just wrote up a Google Doc because I had a feeling that they weren't going to be properly addressed.
When asked about who truly controls the wallets, MrBeast would sidestep the question by focusing on unnecessary details.
If it was your decision, you know, if semantically, if what you're talking about on the podcast, if it was your decision, your trading decision to buy and sell the punks or VFriends, even though you didn't press the buttons, was it actually your decision? It still, to me, would mean that you had control of those trading decisions.
Yeah, these are good questions. Actually, I'm glad we're doing this follow-up thing so we can also just put all this stuff out there. So, yeah, I did say that on the podcast, and I obviously did not press the buttons. Like I've been saying, I didn't pick what punks to buy or anything. Gary Vee, like I said on that podcast, called me and a bunch of other people, said crypto punks are the next big thing. I thought it was pretty crazy. But, you know, the first thing I did right after that is just called the guy in charge of the fund who invested my money and it's other people's money as well, and just said, hey, Gary Vee seemed very passionate about these punks. You should look into it. If it makes sense, buy it. And so, you know, he did the research, picked what punks to buy, bought them. That's kind of high level how it went. But, you know, if he was like, oh, this is a shit investment.
This statement directly contradicts how MrBeast presented his investment discussion on the podcast. Back then, he made it look like he had the final say over what NFTs were purchased. But now, he's making it seem like he never had that decision-making power.
Well, which is it? I feel like if he's telling the truth now, then he was just blatantly lying then. And if he was telling the truth then, he's blatantly lying now or just trying to distance himself from this. I feel like I understand why, because the more he was kind of directing Jason, obviously the worse all of this stuff looks. But I think it's impossible to get away from the fact that MrBeast in 2021 was clearly in some type of contact with this fund that was not normal. This is not a normal, I'm going to give my money to a financial advisor and I don't make any of the decisions. He clearly was directing some of the strategy to say, hey, go get CryptoPunks, and then to go move your money into VFriends because Gary Vee says so. For Gary Vee to then give MrBeast a gift to the fund, like it's all very strange. And I feel like the frustration here is the fact that anytime there's a problem, it's all the fund. I did nothing. I had nothing to do with it, etc. But when you actually look at these investments were all talking about Jimmy.
In addition to this, MrBeast downplays the impact of his tweets about Super and tries to make it seem like it was just a casual tweet.
Why did you not disclose that you had a vested interest in the coin that you were tweeting about? Super question mark. Yeah, we'll start there.
Well, I replied to a tweet, so I did tweet it out, and I think a lot of people.
Wait, you did tweet it out? You reply? This is such a weird distinction. You'll see multiple times he kind of goes like, he'll engage with something that's not really the criticism. The criticism is, well, why didn't you just disclose you had tons of super? And you'll see he bends over backwards to not answer that question.
People, you know, that are just getting second hands of the story think I literally tweet out, go buy super, go buy super. Yeah, you know, the fund did hold some super. And I just saw that was the owner of Super, the guy who made the coin. And I just went scrolling through Twitter, just replied Super to his tweet. I did not tell people to buy Super.
Regardless of the intent behind the tweets, MrBeast already had a vested interest in Super, and failing to disclose that could be seen as unethical. What's even more unsettling is just how he blurs the lines between ethical charity auction and an easy crypto cash out when responding to Coffeezilla's last question.
This one's a lot more complicated and involves a lot of stuff. So I mean, maybe you would want to reconvene with like receipts or evidence or whatever. But it's the crypto charity stuff, Team C's Eternity.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that one, Eternity gave us NFTs to auction off for Team C's. Only one sold after like a day, I believe, and that was it. And then it looks like the fund sold like 27 days later, a little bit of Eternity.
MrBeast didn't want to acknowledge the massive ethical concerns that come with selling $2 million worth of a token linked to a charity he was promoting. Instead, he wants to rely on the fund excuse and undermines the public trust given to someone with such a clean and charitable image.
This was the craziest part of the interview, in my opinion. It's such a layup answer. Yes, I'm the charity guy. I'm expected to be held to high standards. Anything that makes me look like I'm abusing a charity is bad. So I feel really bad. I shouldn't have done it. No matter if the charity flopped, it was a big problem. Instead, he says, oh, we sold after the charity. The one NFT sold. Not true. Then he said, we only sold a few tokens. Also not true. They sold $2 million. And then on top of that, here's where you can actually see the dates of all this stuff. You can see the offer was made on November 2nd. Is that what he's referring to when he says, you know, oh, we sold it? But because that's not actually true. The sale did not happen until December 23rd, 2021. After the fund sold. So this whole idea he's going to say multiple times where he's going to go, oh, we didn't sell anywhere near the charity time. First of all, that's not true. Second of all, it's just literally false, and NFT sold after the fact. So this whole defense of his is based on misinformation.
Naturally, the community wasn't going to tolerate MrBeast's lack of basic transparency and accountability when responding to such a serious case, and demanded he take responsibility for the trades.
But yeah, there's not much to glean out of this other than it always just defaults to the fund, okay? Now again, if you're the charity guy, you should be pretty upfront. You should pretty much bring up to none of these like charity-related crypto transactions should have even occurred. Even if it was the fund or him or whatever, should just never have happened, okay? It's really fucking shady when you see, you know, the charity guy, all right, and you see, now you see the fund that the charity guy is associated to, basically profiting pretty heavily during a period or, you know, around the period of a charity drop. It's insane. It's wild. And the way that he responds to it is like the most corporate PR level response. You don't really glean much out of it other than this is not a real person, okay? It's insane.
And while MrBeast has now addressed many allegations, providing evidence about Delaware, explaining his CGI usage, and clarifying the crypto trading situation, several legitimate concerns remain. His explanations, though detailed, sometimes conflict with past actions, like his public engagement with NFTs despite claiming professional management over his crypto activities. His position as both a creator and the face of a massive corporation creates an impossible standard. Corporate responses like potential legal action against DogPack and third-party investigations come off as cold and calculated. Yet, when he responds personally, like privately sharing debunking videos with other creators, it can appear unprofessional or defensive. The media ecosystem around MrBeast makes this all worse. Sensationalized expose content garners more views than balanced criticism, creating a cycle where legitimate concerns get buried under exaggerated claims. Even when he provides clear evidence against allegations, the viral nature of controversy often drowns out the truth. This leaves MrBeast in a lose-lose situation, unable to satisfy the demands for both corporate accountability and creator authenticity, no matter how he responds. An often overlooked aspect of this controversy is how anyone involved in covering it on a deeper level could have their credibility and reputation put on the line. After Soggy uncovered the holes in DogPack's expose series, members of the audience began questioning his motives, and assumed his paid flight to North Carolina was compensation from the MrBeast team. Something similar happened with Umberville, when people criticized him for doing a quote, poor job interviewing MrBeast, despite having literally no time to prepare for it. No matter how you look at it, the stakes of the MrBeast controversy are astronomically high. On one side, you could see one of the most criticized creators on the internet restore their reputation with a well-orientated response and accountability, while on the other hand, MrBeast could destroy all the goodwill his brand built if he neglects to be 100% transparent. If you want to find out more about the interview MrBeast did with Umberville, then click the video on screen.